Welcome to the Call the Vet Show, the podcast that helps pet parents understand and optimize the health of their furry family so they can live the full and happy life you want for them. And here's your host, veterinarian Dr. Alex Avery.
Hello, kia ora. Welcome to another episode of the Call the Vet Show. Delighted to be speaking to you again for this episode. And this episode is a little bit different. I've not done one of these episodes for a while, and that is to actually bring you audio from a couple of videos from over on my YouTube channel. For those of you who enjoy consuming content on YouTube as well, I produce videos most weeks and some short content there as well. You can find it at youtube.com/ourpetshealth. Well, just search for Our Pets Health and you're sure to find me. But the content taken today is all about optimizing the health of your pet's gut. The health of the gut is so incredibly important, and while diet can play a really important and clearly plays an incredibly important role in this, there are some supplements and there are some other considerations of things that we may want to give on a routine basis, or maybe things that we can optimize and change and add at times when the gut has suffered an insult. And so you may have guessed I'm talking about probiotics, what they are, when to use them, and some common pitfalls to avoid. But I'm also talking about something that you might not be quite so familiar with, and that is prebiotics. And just before I get into all of that good stuff, I'd like to encourage you to hit that subscribe or follow button on whatever app you're listening to this on. It really does mean a lot when I read your feedback and read your reviews, and it really helps me to reach more people, to let them know that this is information that is worth them taking their time to listen to, and ultimately helps me in my goal of reaching more pet parents and optimizing the health of more pets. And then with that all out of the way, here's today's episode.
And now, on with the show.
If I say the word bacteria, you probably picture some disease-causing monster found kind of in some pretty filthy places. But what if I was to say that without bacteria, your pet's health, as well as your own health, would really suffer, and that actually purposefully feeding them live bacteria or even poop from another dog could be the key to treating and preventing all manner of health complaints? Well, let's jump in. So we've got to start with the microbiome, and the intestinal microbiome. It's the population of the trillions of different bacteria, fungi, and other microbes that call the gut their home. And a healthy microbiome is really important for the health of your pet as a whole, for the health of their whole body. It's got an important role in helping to control digestion. It benefits their immune system, because after all, about 70% of the body's immune system is actually found in the intestine, but it affects so much more, many other aspects of health. Now, disruption to the microbiome can happen for all kinds of different reasons. The two most common reasons are going to be something nasty that your dog gets hold of and eats, and it really disagrees with them, causing a load of diarrhea and maybe some vomiting. The other really common reason is going to be the use of antibiotics. So antibiotics, although they may be targeting an infection in some other part of the body, they don't discriminate. They are going to kill the bacteria within the intestine as well, and that's going to disrupt the microbiome clearly. Other medications can also have an effect, as well as your dog's diet in general, the environment that they're living in. There's so many different ways that the microbiome can be altered for the good, but also for the bad. And this really brings us to probiotics. So probiotics are live, good bacteria that we give orally. So we feed it to our dogs or ourselves, and they just aid digestion. They help promote really good gut health, and they optimize this microbiome. Now, this has huge number of therapeutic benefits, and the power of the microbiome, if you like, is only really just being explored and discovered. We're really at the early stages of our understanding of how the different types of bacteria that can be present affect whole body health. But some potentially really valuable uses for probiotics are chronic intestinal abnormalities, so chronic diarrhea, vomiting, tummy upsets, stomach pain, allergic disease, so our atopy, our environmental allergies in dogs, diabetes, obesity, liver disease, mood and behavior disorders, the potential diseases and problems that the probiotics can be used for are huge. Now, that said, the benefit of probiotics, it really is highly dependent on the species, so the type of bacteria that's being given, as well as the species of animal that they're being given to. So, we might be taking probiotics, but human probiotics, while they're unlikely to cause any problem in dogs, they're likely not going to have the same benefit as dog-specific formulations. And future research is going to help to evaluate which particular probiotics are effective to promote health in certain different areas of the body, or maybe tailored for particular individuals and breeds as well. Now, perhaps the most common use currently and the general recommendation for use is to help put a stop to general non-specific diarrhea or diet-associated diarrhea. Interestingly though, the best effect looking in studies is actually when these probiotics are given before a dog suffers that insult that causes diarrhea. Now, clearly that's not very helpful if your dog has got diarrhea currently and you're thinking about giving them probiotics. It's not that they won't work, but they may, for simple diarrhea at least, actually not speed up the resolution by that much. It's not to say it's not worth giving, but when costs are a concern, maybe they're not quite so important. It can also help to reduce diarrhea because of stressful situations. So if you're moving house, that can, cause diarrhea, and probiotics may help there. Also, if you're giving antibiotics for any other kind of problem, then giving probiotics to help reduce the impact of that on the microbiome is potentially incredibly valuable. And clearly, our use of probiotics goes hand in hand with dietary management to control all of these intestinal upsets as well. Now, that leads us on to actually feeding your dog the poop of otherwise healthy dogs. And this is something known as microbiome restorative therapy. So we're giving poo that we think is from a healthy dog and we're feeding that in different ways. Sometimes we're actually producing a slurry that we are kind of using as an enema, so putting up into the colon directly of a dog. And that can be used to treat a number of different long-standing intestinal diseases. Parvovirus in puppies is one key one where the use of this microbiome restorative therapy is becoming much more recognized and readily accepted, and can be a very powerful tool in the treatment of this incredibly dangerous and potentially fatal disease. Now, if you're thinking about giving your dog probiotics, there's a couple of key considerations. We need to remember that probiotics, they're live, living organisms. And so, as a result, they can be killed. And if they're killed, then they're not going to do your dog any harm, but they're absolutely not going to give them any benefit. So it's really important that you check the expiry date, that you keep them in a cool location, and be really careful where you source them from. You don't want to take them from the window of a shop where it's been sitting for months in the direct sun. Equally, if you're buying from a dubious online source, there is absolutely no way you can know how they were stored. And there's no way that you can tell whether those probiotics are still alive just by looking at that product. There's just no way you'll know. So be careful where you buy your probiotics from. And then we've got the situation where there are a lot more diets coming out that claim to have probiotics kind of built into them included. But in one study, there were 19 kind of holistic dog and cat commercial foods. 12 of these 19 diets did not contain a single live organism. So it was pure marketing, or certainly the probiotics had not survived the manufacturing, the storage, the transportation, and getting into the end consumer. So they were completely useless. Only 53% of those that did grow anything contained at least one of the listed species, and none contained all of the probiotics listed in the label. So my take home from this is that actually probiotics mixed in with food in a single product are really not to be trusted, not reliable, and really marketing and nothing more. The same though is true for pure probiotic supplements. Poor quality control, they're not monitored by the FDA, they're highly sensitive to handling and storage, and after 5 to 6 months of storage, there's often almost no live organisms present. And really, it's not just a case of wanting 1 or 2 live organisms, we need to deliver a particular dose. So that's going to fall off in time, and after a certain time period, especially with poor storage, really, you're not getting what you're paying for. And then in another study of 25 different probiotic supplements, only 2 actually had an acceptable correspondence between the actual production of bacteria classes that was stated on the label. Now, one product that comes out repeatedly on top of these studies and these evaluations is something called Fortiflora. It's a really useful, really valuable and proven probiotic supplement. I'll leave links to that in the description down below. But if you are giving your dog probiotics, then you really want to optimize the microbiome and you want to optimize the use of these products. It's really important that your dog receives a diet rich in the right kind of bacteria-friendly food.
And that then leads us really nicely into the audio from this video, which is all about prebiotics and some of the natural food that contains these really important substances.
Healthy gut, healthy body. And the key to this is making sure that all the normal microbes living within the gut, so that's the microbiome, are fed properly. And that's because these bacteria help to produce and support a healthy immune system, good skin quality, improved and optimal hormone function, optimizing body weight, improving behavior, and so much more. And all of these good bacteria within the intestine, they need food to stay healthy. And that's where prebiotics come in. So prebiotics are actually this food so that the good and healthy bacteria are fed and they grow and they prevent any bad bacteria from taking over. So prebiotics, they're a type of complex carbohydrate known as soluble fibers, and they come in a couple of flavors. So we've got FOS, which are fructooligosaccharides, and MOS, which are mannan oligosaccharides. So a bit of a mouthful. FOS and MOS are the common acronyms you'll see. And these either remain undigested by the pet's body or are digested within the intestine, and that digestion products then become food for these microbes, for the bacteria living within the gut, or any probiotics that you might be giving to your pet. Now, there are many high quality commercial diets which are designed for intestinal health, especially recovery from diarrhea and such like, and they will contain prebiotics already formulated, mixed in with that food. But there are some really useful natural sources that it's great to know about if you just want to improve your dog's general gut health after they've maybe had a bout of diarrhea, maybe they've had a course of antibiotics and you're giving them probiotics. But these natural sources can also be added to the diet of normal healthy dogs just to help supercharge their gut flora, protect them from any intestinal upsets that might occur, and also to help optimize their general health. Now, these natural products include sweet potato, that's kumara over in my part of the world, oatmeal, steamed asparagus can be used. Raw asparagus can sometimes give dogs gas and diarrhea. Apple slices can be given in moderation, and these make a healthy and delicious treat for your dog. Canned pumpkin can be given, and mixing that with food can mitigate against any stomach upset that may occur. Barley is the next source, and that's an extremely healthy grain to mix in with your dog's food just to add a little bit of variety. Flaxseed meal or the seeds themselves can be really beneficial. Chicory root and Jerusalem artichokes are other great sources of these prebiotics.
Helping your pet live the happy, healthy life they deserve.
So I hope you found that interesting. Hope you found it useful. If you'd like to dive into this in more detail, then you can always head over to callthevet.org, where I've taken all of the notes for you, and there are links to the products and to more information about related videos, podcasts, blog posts that are definitely worth your while checking out. It's been wonderful spending another week with you. Hopefully you're going to join me in the next episode. Remember to subscribe or follow so that you don't miss out as soon as that one is published. But until then, take great care out there. I'm veterinarian Dr. Alex. This is the Call the Vet Show, because they're family.
That's it for this episode of the Call the Vet Show. Be sure to visit callthevet.org to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content. We'll see you next time.